Okay, study guide for 3 and 4 of Ender's Game. Who do the observers feel this is the weak link and why? You have these conversations that are in different type in the book to differentiate between who is speaking. The type that is more of almost looks like an Arial font, more of a rounded type font and a little bit bolder, is conversations between Graf and other commanders or people in the government or people in the battle school that are watching Ender or monitoring him. They are the observers, more or less. And then the rest of the font is the storyline. And in this font where we have the observers, they're talking about Valentine being the weak link to them because they love each other. They have that brother sister bond, and your family is important to you, and that's going to be hard to break up because what if he wants to stay behind and be with her rather than go to battle school. Graf comes to the door. He's an officer, and when Ender first comes in, he thinks that he's gotten in trouble for beating Stilson up at school. But truth be told, he's actually going off to the battle school. Graf is the director of training at the battle school. Who was the hero in the last Bugger War? Mazer Rackham, and he will come into play later in the novel as well. Who does Graf say is the only boy with brains at the launch, and why does he do this? He does this to Ender, and he does it to isolate him and single him out, and to make him a strong leader because of that. He intentionally sets the other boys against him, against Ender, and this strategy kind of to mentally isolate, socially isolate Ender as a set apart, as a separate identity, to try to formulate that he doesn't need to become friends with these people. These are the people that he's going to lead into the army. What happens to the boy Ender flips in the... He doesn't mean to hurt him, but he breaks his arm. This is Bernard who comes in later. Why did Ender think Graf was his friend? Because he's nice to him. He smiles, and Ender says he's honest about things. But as Graf tells him, I'm not your friend. I'm here to make you the best leader that I possibly can. I'll go ahead and move on to 5 and 6 as well. What bunk does Ender get, and how does he respond to getting it? When he gets to the battle school, he, because he's in the room late, the only one left is the worst one, which is the bottom bunk by the door. But when he gets it, he pretends that it's the one he wanted, sort of kind of covering up the humiliation of getting the worst one. What is in the compartment with the spacesuit? He opens it up and he finds a spacesuit, which is amazing, but he also finds a laser gun. What he thinks is a laser gun. It's actually a light gun. It's not lethal, but it's to be used in the battle games. Also, he gets a small desk, like an iPad. It's not like a full-size desk. It's something like a laptop computer or an iPad, sort of, that he can put on his lap and do his work on. There's this laser gun. What does it mean to ice out? It means to be flunk out and to be sent home. Which games does Ender study in the older boys area? He studies the strategy games, or the games where boys can play against each other with fighting ships. He's drawn to those sort of strategy games. Who's the first of the launchies to befriend Ender? Shen does. He sticks up for him and even cracks into the security system to set up Bernard as being an idiot, basically, when it mounts to Shen, because he's been making fun of Shen. Sort of befriending someone who is also sort of the outsider, or the one who's looked down upon. Who does Ender approach in the battle room? He approaches the ally because he kind of sees him, or ally, as he sees him as someone who sort of knows what's going on, and together they figure out about being shot in the foot, that it freezes when you shoot the suit with a light gun. It freezes the movement of whatever part of you. If you just freeze your foot, it freezes the bottom part of you and not the upper part. But if you freeze up in the maybe in the chest, like, it would freeze your entire body. Who are the four boys who take on the rest of the class? Ender, Shin, Ally, and Bernard get together. They fight together, and whereas Ender and Bernard were at forces, were at odds before this. At this point, they've sort of teamed up and become part of the same group, part of the same bonded together to work together. Ally is chosen as launch leader, and we get introduced to this idea of this fantasy game, which is completely parallel to the story and can be very difficult to understand. We have it's like a way to pass time or a way to uh, make the boys feel comfortable there, something like that. And the game that he comes back to again and again and again, and he calls it a mind game or the fantasy game, and it's called the Giant's Drink. And in the Giant's Drink, they go on up there, and the giant asks him to choose between two drinks, and he can't get past it. He gets stuck. But he keeps going back again and again anyway. And after he has this battle with in the battle room, and this mock sort of beginning battle where he gangs up with Shin, Ally, and Bernard to defeat, he goes back to his game, his mind game, and works on it to play again. And this time, instead of taking the drink and dying and going back like he has over and over again, he kicks over the drink and he jumps into the giant's face and digs out his eyeball. It's very graphic. It says that the stuff in the giant's eye, the stuff came away like cottage cheese, and the giant screamed. Um, it's this violent image, but that Ender beats it, and he goes into fairyland. What they say, welcome to fairyland, and it's this whole parallel sort of understanding. It's a computer game within the game, if you wish, something like that. Computer game within the book where they pass the time. And here is a scene from the graphic novel. You could see where the giant cups at him, he calls him a cheater, and then he digs into his eyeball, and inside the eyeball it goes in there, and that is the fairyland.